Chapter 2 is going to have to be split into 2 separate recordings because I had reached my time limit. So I'm going to start this page over again. Father opened another door. Behind it is what Shirley recognized as a tiny room for bathing, even though the tub was neither tall nor round nor of wood. It was white, and inside it stood a large metallic can. Father took out a hose and attached it to the nozzle, called forth water that filled the metal can to overflowing. "Watch carefully," he said, looking up with that smile again. Mother stepped backwards, but Shirley, anxious to prove her mettle, her bravery, leaned forward an inch. "Are you watching?" The new arrivals nodded uncertainly as he dumped a cupful of blue powder into the water. Then, with a flourish, he plugged the attached wire into the wall. Chug, chug, chug. The metal can bounced, banging against the walls of the tub like a squat madman foaming at the mouth. The sight sent Mother out of the room. "What is it?" Shirley finally asked, hoping not to appear ignorant, but hoping more that the thing would not escape the confines of the tub and test her resolve. "A machine that washes." "Washes?" He nodded proudly. For a moment Shirley hesitated, then decided she had better speak up. "Father, if you don't mind, I prefer to bathe alone." To her dismay, Father doubled over with laughter. Or was it pain? It was hard to tell from the way he was trying to tame the expression on his face each time he opened his mouth. Obviously he wanted to say something, but could only make noises that sounded like sobs. Again and again he shook his head at his foolish child, too foolish, obviously, to appreciate such a marvel, one that must have cost him hundreds of dollars, or, worse yet, one that Father had invented himself. At last he spoke. "Not you, bandit. Clothes." "Clothes?" "All types of clothes. Your mother will love it." Shirley did not think so. The tour finished, Father took them for a walk around the neighborhood. All the streets looked alike. Each street was flat and painted black. There were no steep hills. Each house was a replica of theirs. Every place stuck to the next, wall to wall, without any gardens. No moon gates or fan windows or stone lions. Now and then a tree, but no flower beds. With no servants, how could there be gardens? But then, with no servants, there would be no awaiting marriage to spoil Shirley's fun either. Even the one bicycle she saw was strange. It had 3 wheels. Only a short distance from her house were stores. "This is for groceries," Father said. "That is for snacks. And this is the place where I buy my newspapers and cigarettes." Shirley's stomach began to growl, and they returned home. Father prepared lunch. Orange noodles out of a can. Mother smiled. "So simple. Cooking in America will be no chore at all." When the dishes were done, friends arrived. Father introduced them as Mr. Wu, Mr. Tan, Mr. Lin, and Mr. Ku. They were all men working in America, anxious for news of home and family. Eagerly they queried Mother, asked her questions, drinking tea and smoking cigarettes. How proudly Father looked on. Before long, there were no more cigarettes. Father put on his coat to go out and buy more for his guests. Then a wonderful idea popped into Shirley's head. She would go for the cigarettes. "Father, you stay. I'll go for the cigarettes," she said. "You?" "I can find my way. You pointed the store out to me this morning." He looked pleased but skeptical. She had to convince him. Everyone was listening. On each face a grin, the knowing kind elders give to children. Shirley did not like it. Father must have sensed her discomfort, for he reached for her coat and said, "Let us go together then." "Father, please let me go by myself." He looked toward Mother, who gave a quick but empathetic shake of the head, basically saying no. But before she could actually say no and ruin Shirley's plan, Shirley spoke up, twisting and turning, marking the steps as if showing off a fancy dance. "All I do is turn right at the bottom of the stairs, walk until the end of the block, then turn left until I reach the store. And to come back, I turn right, then right again at our house, which is the second from the end and has a boat painted on the hallway light." The guests applauded. Knowing too well that Mother would not approve of her performance, Shirley never took her eyes off Father. He hung up his coat. Shirley stood tall as a warrior. Once Father made up his mind, Father would not try to change it. Even Grandfather had despaired of trying, and that's why they were in America. Opening the door, Father said, "Say Lucky Strike. Rucky Sake. Tell the man in the store, Lucky Strike. Rucky Sake. You won't forget? Not I." With $1 to buy 4 packs, Shirley started off, skipping and chanting all the way. Right, left, Rucky Sake. Right, right, home. At the store, a skinny man with a big red nose welcomed her with a smile. Encouraged, she opened her mouth wide to pronounce her first English words for an American. Rucky Sake. But instead of giving her cigarettes, he rattled off a string of nonsensical words or sounds. What if she couldn't make him understand? She puffed on an imaginary cigarette and shouted again, "Rucky Sake, Rucky Sake." This time he nodded, then shook his head. What does he mean? She wondered. Yes, he understood. No, he didn't. She was about to try again when he ran around the counter and took her by the hand to the door. Pointing to another store across the street, he shouted even louder than she had, "Rucky Sake, Rucky Sake." Ah, now she understood. Yes, her English was most proper. No, he did not have Father's brand, but the other place did. Shirley thanked the man with a low bow, then hurried across the road, blushing. How awful it would have been to have returned home without proof of her triumph. The woman in the second store was reading a book. Without glancing up when spoken to, she plunked down one, then another, until all 4 packs were safely in Shirley's hand. Simple. It was quite simple. Nothing to it at all, Shirley thought, as she fingered the cellophane and walked proudly out the door. Turning right, she could almost see Father smiling at his amazing daughter as he passed cigarettes to the man, who shouted and clapped. Turning right again, she imagined Mother, teary with pride, reaching for a handkerchief. "Congratulations, Shirley Temple Wong, congratulations!" At the steps of the house, second from the corner, she stopped to straighten her coat and smooth her hair. In her moment of triumph, she must look her best. Holding the cigarettes with both hands like an offering to the gods, she marched up the front door. Something made her look through the glass beside the wooden frame. There was the hall light, but where was the painted boat? She hurried to the street to see if indeed it was the second house from the corner. It was. Perhaps in her glory she had not walked far enough. She ran to the next street, to another second house, again a hall light, but it was painted with a rose. She rushed across the street to the house facing her. No light at all, just a lamp on a table. Quickly, Shirley retraced her steps. Her heart raced even faster than the patter of her shoes on the sidewalk. Now right, now left, but the store had disappeared. There was just another house like all the others. For a while she ran here and there, up every set of steps looking for the boat. It was getting dark. Finally, she was too tired to look any more. She sat down on the curb. Perhaps someone would come to her rescue, but no one passed. She was alone. Her hands were stiff from the cold. Tears fell on the cellophane. She didn't care. What had gone wrong? She asked herself. The directions were clear. Right, left, store. Right, right, home. Suddenly she knew. She had gone to a second store and forgotten to start back from the first. Knowing did not help. She would never find the skinny man with the big red nose or the woman who read. She would never have another chance. What a fool she was. Nothing but a fool. Utterly ashamed, she hid her face in her arms. Someone tapped her on the shoulder. Looking up, she saw Father. He offered his hand, but not a word of rebuke. Silently they walked hand in hand. With each step she felt better. At the first corner they met Mr. Tan. at the second Mr. Wu. And so it went until all the guests had joined them. Not a one was unkind enough to mention why he was out roaming the streets. As they passed the cigarette store, Father began to sing. It was a marching song, one soldiers sang when they returned victorious from battle. Everyone joined in. Later, Shirley wrote a letter to fourth cousin and boasted of how she had triumphed on her very first day in Brooklyn. Naturally, she did not mention the little mishap. Why worry the clan unnecessarily? She would never be lost again. End of chapter 2. Thank you for listening.